Calling the inaugural meeting of council for the town of Lincoln to order. I'd now like to ask Sage Lunshoff from Beamsville District Secondary School to come down to the front. Sage will be singing our national anthem, so I ask everyone to please remain standing for the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. Please welcome at the podium His Worship, Justice of the Peace Glenn Peace, who will now administer the declarations of office individually for elected mayor and members of council.
I would now like to call Mayor-elect Her Worship Sandra Easton to the podium to recite her oath of office.
I, Sandra Easton, having been elected to the office of mayor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I will make this promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Sworn before me, the town of Lincoln, in the region of Niagara, this day, December 3rd, 1918. Sorry, 2018. My apologies.
Now that you have everybody loosened
Well,
up.
we've dated everyone, so that's it. Madam. Thank you. I would now ask the town clerk to present to Madam Mayor the chain of office and the ceremonial mace. Madam Clerk, Mayor Sandra Easton. It is now my pleasure to call each councillor-elect individually, beginning with Ward number 1 and then onwards, to join me at the podium to recite their oath of office. Adam Russell.
I, Adam Russell, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it is to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Sworn before me, this date, in the town of Lincoln, region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018.
Let me sign first.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much. Diane Rejama, please.
Thank you. I, Diane Rejama, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
You'll have to sign here. Sworn before me, town of Lincoln, region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony Renee.
I, Tony Brunet, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you, Councillor. Sworn before me, the town of Lincoln, in the region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018. Thank you. John D. Pacherba.
I, John D. Pachariva, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Sworn before me, the town of Lincoln in the region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018. Sign right there, if you will, Councillor, please. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Paul McPherson. Councillor.
I, Paul McPherson, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you, Councillor. Sworn before me in the town of Lincoln, the region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018. The sign right there. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Mike Mikulik.
I, Mike Mikulik, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithfully and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing that to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Sworn before me, town of Lincoln, region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018. Right there, Councillor. Thank you. That's fine, thank you. Lynn Timmers, please.
I, Lynn Timmers, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Sworn before me, Town of Lincoln, Region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018. Sign right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Reamer, please.
I, Greg Reimer, having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the town of Lincoln, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you, Councillor. Sworn before me, Town of Lincoln, Region of Niagara, December 3rd, 2018. I'd ask you to sign right there, Councillor. Thank you. Thank you very much. My congratulations to all members of council for the council term of 2018 to 2022. I wish you all the best in your service to the public.
Good evening, honored guests, family members that are here this evening, friends, and to the former members of council. Welcome and thank you for joining us. I also want to thank and acknowledge the town crier, our piper, the fire services that escorted us in, and of course, Sage Lunsoff from BDSS that sang O Canada. As well, the senior management team that is here in attendance this evening. And on behalf of our team and all of you, I want to officially congratulate Mayor Easton and members of council. I also want to say on behalf of the senior management team that I look forward to working with Mayor Easton, this council, and moving our community forward over the next 4 years. I will now relinquish the chair to Her Worship, Mayor Sandra Easton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krikopoulos. This evening, I wish to acknowledge my mother, Margaret Romanoli, and my aunt, who is 99 years old, Lois Jean Cater. We will begin as we plan to continue, and at this time, I wish, for the first time, to make the land acknowledgement as follows. The Shononton people have called these lands home for thousands of years, and more recently, the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee have been sharing the land as one dish, One Spoon Treaty Territory. We would like to acknowledge the enduring resilience of the First Nations, Métis and Inuit people who call this territory home. A couple of days ago, I was having a little practice run on my inaugural address. And who better to have that practice run than with an 8-year-old and a 5.5-year-old. They sat very quietly. They're very well-behaved children. I'm not sure that they understood anything that I was talking about, but at one point, the youngest, Connor, goes like this to his brother, and he says, so I thought, good, this is good. And then when it was done, I said to Maxim, so how was it, Maxim? And he said, Grammy, it was good. It was more than good, he said. So with that endorsement, I'm going to go forward. And I'm dedicating my inaugural address to my grandchildren and to all the children of Lincoln who hold our future as part of their hopes and dreams. So I welcome you all. Good evening, citizens of Lincoln, family and friends of council members, visitors from adjacent municipalities, senior staff, and members of the press. And I want to acknowledge all the members of council that sit here this evening, those who have served before, and those who have been newly elected. We will have a great 4 years. I know that. I also would like to acknowledge Mayor Ray Conkle, who is here this evening with his wife, Pat. Mayor Ray was the mayor for about 21 years, I believe. And it's very good, Ray, that you have the interest still and will come and share these important events with us. And I also want to recognize Regional Councillor-elect Rob Foster and his wife, Sue, who are here this evening. Tonight is the opportunity for newly sworn mayor on behalf of council to share with you a bit of where we've been and our intentions for the future. And both will eventually play out in a very broad strategic direction and a more detailed work plan for staff under the operating jurisdiction of the CAO. And before I begin, I want to make reference to the mace that Madam Clerk mentioned earlier, that stick of wood that the fire chief carried on our behalf. We are the only municipality in the Dominion of Canada who has a mace, and it came in 1970 in time for the amalgamation of Lincoln from the city of Lincoln. And the wood comes from Lincoln Cathedral. And they outfitted it after they turned it and made it look a little bit more respectable, like something that you'd want to deal with in the future. It has very beautiful, quite simple, but very beautiful engraved tips, silver tips on it. So we don't have a processional as they do in the city of Lincoln. We don't wear robes with all kinds of chains with diamonds and rubies and emeralds, which is what my husband and I experienced when we were there 3 years ago. But they do carry their mace in each time. We don't do that. We're a little less formal here. And so from here on in, for the next 4 years, until the next inauguration, it sits right here in front of us. And it is a treasure. It is a real part of our history. It actually came on the train. Eventually, it came across the ocean and then came on the train. It was taken off the train by someone, and I've forgotten who that is right now. And then it was brought into Lincoln, but it was sent to us by the city. We have been very busy, the council of the previous term, and our staff delivered well over 100 projects. Some continue to evolve, but there will be a completeness in time as the roadworks, the museum and cultural projects, the Camden Fire Hall, and additional stages of stormwater management and park development come to completion. There is a division of labor between council and staff, and I am very earnest that we will honor that division of labor. The importance of good governance in order to ensure there is clarity on who does what and for accountability at all levels to be reinforced is part of a council's success. Without good leadership and governance, we cannot lead, we cannot prosper, and we have seen what happens across the region when these guiding principles are not upheld. As the citizens of Lincoln, and those who are watching us tonight on Cogeco understand, Council has been working to address the many challenges that face our community and the region of Niagara. Our work plan takes a look at many levels of current and future issues in order that we are proactively involved in the most pressing current and future challenges. Some of those include climate change and the sharing economy, rising housing prices, overall inequality that leads to poverty, keeping seniors in their homes longer, the provision of affordable housing and the most recent crisis around local health care, the safety of our streets and the sustainability of our economy and the natural heritage, not only of Lincoln, but all of Niagara, are key to future stability. Lincoln councils and this council will put important building blocks in place to ensure future success. And in the past term, we have advanced 5 key priorities. These include making significant progress and improvements in roads and transportation, economic development, communication, cultural planning, and customer service. And we are not done, as the next 4 years will see Council examining this progress and making new policy to ensure that changes are truly meeting your needs. That reassurance requires attention to details, and it also requires having the right persons committed to Council's work and your priorities. Over the next 4 years, you can expect to see our community becoming more vibrant and prosperous for residents, for business owners, investors, and visitors. We will continue to build the recruitment and retention values of the corporation in the face of tremendous competition for the excellent staff we have here in Lincoln. We have made significant investment in the senior management team, and this will continue until every level is strengthened by excellence and skills, attitude, and in commitment to the citizens served by each and every department. And I say this to you at this time because you should expect continued excellence with every engagement, and that includes engagements that you will have or will have with technology. Beyond Council's main role to ensure the town operates as responsibly, effectively, and efficiently as possible, it has the difficult challenge of balancing the demand for high-quality services while keeping taxes low or manageable. This means continuing to make hard decisions and doing the important work that needs to be done. Financial sustainability is important to the 4th fastest growing community in Niagara. Lincoln is becoming home to a dynamic mix of people with a range of backgrounds and experiences. And this growth brings new jobs and opportunity, as well as the need for new investment to maintain and strengthen town programs and services that citizens require and expect. This in turn requires a council commitment to long-term planning and a relentless focus on prudent fiscal management. I am proud that we are the first municipality in Niagara to begin developing a financial sustainability plan. It's a plan that examines policies on investment, on long-term borrowing, on capital and operating expenditures, and also on revenue development, on reserves and development charges. Financial prudent decisions are those decisions that are made with information and data. They aren't the easy decisions necessarily, but they are the right decisions at the right time. There is a small window in our evolution as a town and community that will never be seen again. Financial sustainability is vital to our ability to respond to resident priorities, including better roads, parks, and recreational facilities and programming, and attracting new jobs and investments in Lincoln. And it is key to delivering services more efficiently, improving customer service, and communicating more effectively with residents. It is core to the management of risk. The town of Lincoln has set an example for citizen involvement in community planning of our built environment in this past term. We are completely familiar with the past and often typical planning process that follows along from the application by developers until all of the requisite timeframes have been met. Unfortunately, it involves the community response very late. In Lincoln, we have an experienced and enlightened approach most recently that weighs heavily on more proactive public engagement. It involves citizens well before the plan is set out, and ideally, it should be well in place before property is purchased. It is dependent on more frequent updating of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and will, in this term, see the commercial areas of Vineland and Beamsville, the GO Station properties, parks and development, and infill take on a more community-driven, evidence-based approach. This approach recognizes the empowerment of council and citizens to voice their concerns as well as their ideas to make their community better and the end result better. As your mayor, I believe this is the direction you want council to take. It takes a special brand of developers. It requires patience, negotiation, and mutual trust and citizen participation over the long term. This approach, when we complete the zoning bylaw review, will better prepare us to maintain the look and feel of Lincoln in the 21st century and your vision of a place to grow, a place to prosper, a place to belong. The physical planning of Lincoln should be an ongoing special project with the official plan and zoning bylaw part of special considerations to keep those policies up to date and reflective of the times in Lincoln, the region, and our province. Circumstances are moving faster than ever, and we must be prepared to lead our community ahead of any other plans for the minimal space that we have outside the Greenbelt, the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, and the Niagara Escarpment Commission protected lands. To that point, there are 2,000 approved housing units that will be built in Lincoln over the next decade. We have some of this region's most exciting work ahead of us. Our collective job as these come is to balance the impact they will have and the investment they will bring with them. Some say we can stop it. However, we must remember that much of it is driven by higher fundamentals, things like market, our location, and of course, an open for business and open provincial framework. We must ready ourselves for change and seize opportunity. We only have one chance. I believe a bold vision is something we should seize. Together, this council and you will do what is best for Lincoln. I have every faith that that will be the case. In 2014, we began the term as a Center of Excellence for Agriculture and have supported a large number of ag business sectors to expand and to build new. With one of my personal goals in 2014 related to an education economy, Lincoln is also moving to be a center of educational innovation and partnership with 4 institutions working with us to achieve at all levels of an education economy: Brock University, Niagara College, the Vineland Research and Innovation Center, and the University of Guelph. With significant staff support, the purpose is to build education for the youth of Lincoln based in research and innovation, expand the job markets in the professions to grow the specialized trades related to agriculture, as well as respond to the cultural, environmental, and small manufacturing needs of our community. As one of the most diverse economies in Niagara, and with multiple Lincoln industries spreading into global markets, we are poised for long-term economic stability. coupled with customer and business investment as a result of Council's ability to make complex decisions, and with strong internal expert support, we will continue to be seen as predictable and stable decision makers going forward. People are no longer asking or saying, "Why Lincoln?" Rather, "Why not Lincoln?" And I couldn't agree more. We must be proud and, as I said, bold. Our forefathers that came here, they took a risk. They were bold and worked hard to create the prosperity that we enjoy today. This pattern of forward thinking, a bold vision coupled with strategic work, is the attitude that we carry forward as a new council. We also know that vision, integrity, and experience matters, and want to thank you for your confidence and for recognizing those important qualities in all councilors sworn in tonight. We have spoken often about the importance of producing the best quality service, and that is what we have been doing. Building core programs, building financial sustainability, responding to community programming requests, and special festivals. We often refer to this as the steak. Well, for the last few months, you've also been experiencing the sizzle. The sizzle of community programming, happy families involved in their community, sharing in the opportunities to get to know their neighbors, sports and recreation, and also arts and culture. This is what makes a community what it is. We also know about the importance of community health and safety, and here too, Council will continue to work with you to achieve our goals for a new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. How we look at healthcare and what complementary services across Niagara will be essential as we look at the hospital corridor in a different way. Lincoln will also continue to work with our MP and MPP and regional councillor to ensure that we can be positioned for improved infrastructure support, social services, and public health program considerations as well. We have a great deal to be proud of. We live in a beautiful region, an amazing town, a wonderful country. We are seen as leading in many ways across the region. I am so very proud of that, and I thank you all. I thank you all for making that happen. In closing, I consider my inaugural address to also be the mandate to Council as we move forward and to make our plans for 2019 to 2023 and to give you confidence that we have a plan and we are prepared to execute on your behalf, that we will rely first on the most up-to-date knowledge from which to make our decisions. And once again, on behalf of Council, thank you all for attending this evening. Inaugurations are tremendously proud moments for families, and it is our responsibility now to take your pride, the confidence of the entire Lincoln community, as well as our vision, integrity, and experience to work very hard for the betterment of Lincoln now and Lincoln in the future. You have entrusted us to do that. It is my pleasure. Thank you. And now that that part is done, I really do need to look at the agenda to see what is next. Ladies and gentlemen, the next part of our program this evening is one that is also very new. During the Canada 150 year, there were many firsts for the community. And as the mayor, I wanted to do something special to recognize those in Lincoln who had served and who were serving as members of our local government. I think there are many times now, and there's so much on social media that speaks very negatively of public office. And I wasn't very satisfied with that, and I wanted to go back and just spend a very short time with each person who is still living and who is still in the community or available to us. And with the clerk of the day help and also my assistant Andrea Chambers, we were able to have made what we now refer to as the Mayor's Medal. The Mayor's Medal is given to people in the community at the time of special acknowledgements, but it is given now to each new councillor as they come to their inauguration evening and have been sworn in, and I would like to do that right now. Russell. Adam Russell. Now, Adam, this isn't just any old pin. This pin is the Mayor's Medal. It also has provenance, and you are number 36. Wear it proudly. And do it honor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mike Mikulik. And I also congratulate you, Mike, and I hope that you will also wear number 37. Oh my, with some considerable pride.
Will do.
Yes. Thank you very much. All right, I think you're good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Greg Reimer. You are number 38. Maybe I'll put it up here. Wear it with pride, Greg. I should call you all counselor now. There you are, Counselor Reimer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillors, next on the agenda is the confirming bylaw. And I am requiring a mover and a seconder. Councillor McPherson, Councillor Timmers. I have a motion moved by Councillor McPherson and seconded by Councillor Timmers that this council accept and acknowledge a motion to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held this evening, December 3rd, 2018. All those in favor? None opposed. The motion is carried. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the business of this council, as has been circulated and published, now being complete, I declare the inaugural meeting of the Town of Lincoln adjourned.